What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another reaction video. We got which NFL teams are real Super Bowl contenders. Let's check this out.
The 2024 NFL season is just a couple of days away. So
Facts.
in today's video, I want to give you guys 8 different teams that
I'm gonna get my team so far. You know what I'm saying? Of course, Kansas City Chiefs could have just came off a Super Bowl ring back to back. You know what I'm saying? Super Bowl champions. Got my Baltimore Ravens. I'm gonna go Detroit. I'm gonna go with the Niners, Packers. Even though the Eagles did, you know what I'm saying, struggle last season, like in the second part of the season, they still have one of the best rosters in the NFL. So I'm gonna have to put the Eagles in there. You know what I'm saying? The Texans, obviously. Should I put Miami in here? Cause they do have a good roster too. Why not, bro? I'm gonna put Miami in there.
Truly do believe are Super Bowl contenders. Now, before we actually get into the video, I do think it's important that I personally define what I truly do think is a Super Bowl contender. And to me, for you to be a Super Bowl contender, I have to think that you have a top-tier quarterback, a top-tier head coach, and a really good overall roster.
Okay.
And before I actually do hop into the video, I want to give one honorable mention, which will go to the New York Jets. I think they have a top-tier quarterback, one healthy.
Yeah,
they have a top-tier roster.
I just don't think that they can make it to the Super Bowl with Robert Saleh as the head coach. I'm sorry, bro. Like, the Jets have a great roster, don't get me wrong, but Robert Saleh just, I don't think he's the right person to lead them to the Super Bowl.
The only thing holding them back is that I just don't know how to feel about Robert Saleh quite yet.
See?
With that being said, if you go on to enjoy today's video, hit the like and subscribe button, but let's get into the video.
Bet.
So for today's video, I have 8 different teams that we will be talking about today, and we are going to begin with number 8, the Houston Texans.
Okay.
Now, when you look at the Houston Texans, they kind of check all the boxes that I talked about earlier. They have a top-tier quarterback, looks to be a top-tier head coach, and a very solid roster surrounding CJ Stroud.
And it got even better, too.
They brought in some big-name guys like Stephon Diggs and Danielle Hunter to shore up a couple of different positions that they really kind of didn't need help in the case of receiving room, but also in some positions that they did need help in, such as the edge rushing room. And I think all in all, when you look at this team, there really is not a bunch of holes for this team. I think the only thing that may kind of hold people back, including myself, is the fact that they don't have a ton of experience in terms of winning championships. At the end of the day, CJ Stroud is only a sophomore, and they got a lot of young pieces on this team. So I think it will be important that this team manages their expectations properly, as well as putting in proper game plans every single night and every single game to put themselves in the best position to win football games. I do believe the Texans have a good recipe for success, and if they can match what they did last year and improve upon it, I think they'll easily be in consideration for a championship in 2024. Next up at number 7 is the Cincinnati Bengals.
Cincy?
It's one of those teams that checks off a lot of different boxes.
I mean, like, I'm gonna keep it a buck, bro. If Burrow's got to stay healthy for one, because that's been his biggest problem so far. His NFL career is him staying healthy consistently. Now they got the pieces on offense: T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. They lost Tyler Boyd, but then they drafted Jermaine Burton, who's been, you know what I'm saying, playing lights out in preseason so far. But you know, they lost Mixon. They brought in Zach Moss. I just don't know what their future is gonna hold, man. And then, like, the defense, I don't know. I really don't know, bro.
They have a top-tier quarterback, one healthy, in Joe Burrow, a head coach that I do believe is a pretty solid head coach, and a really solid roster all around.
Because
put all of that together and then look
is Jamar Chase and them gonna play like without new contracts?
They're in the deep playoff conversation, and they have actually made it to a Super Bowl at one point. For this team, and I've talked about this multiple times throughout the offseason, if they're going to have the success that they think they can have, they've got to stay healthy. That is truly maybe their only knockback as to why this team may not be true championship contenders, is their overall health, because Joe Burrow just hasn't shown that he can maintain a long season of healthiness in a couple of years. Obviously last year had a bunch of injuries, had some injuries in his rookie year, but had some healthy seasons in between. And then you got all the other question marks about health on the defense with Jamar Chase and a bunch of other players. So if they can't stay healthy, defense like with Jamar Chase for a championship team, but we would just have to wait and see on that one. At number 6, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Now in this one, I don't quite yet have every single box checked, but
because it's with Hurts, bro. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Hurts will be the deciding factor of how he plays, because they got every fucking weapon possible on that offense. They got AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. They drafted Johnny Wilson, who was 6'7". They got Nia Smith, who is very underrated. You know what I'm saying? So And then they brought in Saquon, who I would think will take a lot of the pressure off of, you know what I'm saying, Jalen Hurts. So they've got a squad. And then the defense, bro, got even better. They brought back CJ Garner-Johnson, drafted Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. That front four, bro, is fucking disgusting with Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, you know what I'm saying? Brandon Graham, I believe, still in that team as well. Like, bro, they are stacked.
I'm anticipating that I will be able to check those boxes.
They still got big play Slay.
They have a top tier quarterback in Jalen Hurts, and I do believe that this roster is one of, if not the best overall rosters in the league. But the only checkbox that I'm not really sure if I can check right now is going to be at the head coaching spot, because Nick Sirianni had a really
I fucking hate Nick Sirianni, bro. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I fuck with the Eagles, you know what I'm saying? But, bro, Nick Sirianni is fucking bitch, bro. I'm saying that shit right now. He's a fucking bitch. I hate Nick Sirianni, bro.
A spot that seemingly was going to be checked off. He looked like he was a great head coach.
That nigga's a fucking dickhead.
Ultimately, they would lose, but it looked like Nick Sirianni was one of the better young head coaches in the league. And then everything kind of fell apart late last year. We all know the story. I've talked about it here on the channel multiple times. And so for me, it's going to take a couple of weeks before I can definitively say that I believe in Nick Sirianni to be a coach that can lead a team to a championship. I know he's done it once, and hell, that Jalen Hurts 2022 season was magical, and a big part of why was
they pushed their way to the Super Bowl.
Personally, that Nick Sirianni has to prove that he's more than just what his offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator were in 2022. He has to prove that he can lead the team sort of by himself. Yes, he has Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio, but in a sense, it's on him to really prove.
Yeah, Kellen Moore, I feel like is gonna unlock Jalen Hurts' passing game.
This team is easily a championship contender. At number 5, I have the Green Bay
Packers.
Now, I know what you guys are saying. No way does Metro have the Green Bay Packers at number 5 ahead of the Eagles and ahead of the Bengals and
who the fuck wouldn't, bro? I'm not even like no glaze shit, bro. Like, this team has so much potential to be probably the best NFC team this year, bro. I'm gonna keep it a stack.
But in my opinion, I gotta give them the respect that they deserve. I think
now in front of the Texans, I'm not sure why. I would put the Texans in front of Green Bay, but
contenders. For the Texans, it's their youth. For the Bengals, it's their health. For the Eagles, it's their coach. Whereas for the Packers, I don't really have a ton of question marks about this team. Yes, they have a top-tier quarterback, a top-tier head coach, and in my opinion, a really solid roster all around. You take all of that and you put into what was a really awesome offseason where they got guys like Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney and shored up some positions on the offensive line, and all of a sudden you're looking at this team and saying this is one of the best teams in the league. Now, am I going a little bit crazy by putting them in my top 5? Perhaps, but I truly do believe that after what was a very impressive run last year in the playoffs, that they have what it takes to get that far. Jordan Love at one point in the season looked like a total bust, and then afterwards went on to have a miraculous second half of the season where arguably had he played like that the entire year, he probably would have won MVP. And as we head into 2024, the expectations for Jordan Love are at an all-time high. He is looking like he's going to be in the MVP conversations, and this team is talented enough to get really far into the playoffs and make that Super Bowl run. So yes, maybe you guys will disagree with me on this one, but ultimately speaking, I'm going to give the respect where it belongs with the Green Bay Packers. I think they have the coaching staff that can lead this team very far and perhaps make it to a Super Bowl. However, at number 4, I'll be talking about the team that beat the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs
the Niners,
last year, and that is going to be the San Francisco 49ers. They have, in my opinion, a top-tier quarterback, top-tier head coach, and a top-tier overall roster. Now, yes, Kyle Shanahan has continuously struggled, whether it's in the championship games or in the Super Bowl. He's consistently sort of disappointed and played down to expectations, but I still believe that he's a top-tier head coach. But for me, if this team does want to take that next step into winning that championship, I think a lot of it is going to be on the shoulders of Brock Purdy. Can he take that next step into being an even better quarterback than what he's already done the first couple years of his career? We obviously
like, and, this Niners team. And like, I just still do not understand why people keep calling him a system QB. Like, what do you want this nigga to do, bro? Like, he was drafted to a team that had multiple weapons for him to throw the ball to, like Debo, Kittle, Ayuk, CMC. Like, bro, what do you expect him to do? Just play horrible, you know what I'm saying, on purpose so y'all can stop calling him a system QB? No, bro. Like, come on, I hate when people be doing that shit.
Quarterbacks heading into their third and fourth years.
Like Purdy, he be making great decisions, be having great throws. He might not have the strongest arm or like the most arm talent, but like he's still a pretty good QB at the end of the day.
Up to a guy like Brock Purdy to kind of beat out the repetition of what's been happening for this team and play a really good year of football. And in my opinion, I do believe that Brock Purdy will be able to do so. So if he is able to do that, I don't really see a reason why this team cannot make it back to the Super Bowl and potentially win another championship to add on to the incredible.
If they make it to the Super Bowl again and lose, bro.
But next up, let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens at number
3.
For this one, again, they check off all the boxes. Each team I'm going to be talking about moving forward is going to check off all the boxes, at least in my opinion. They have a top-tier quarterback, top-tier head coach, and a really solid roster all around. And yes, you can make the argument that this version of this Ravens team is not as good nor loaded with talent as they were last year. At the end of the day, they lost a number of key players, guys like Patrick Queen and Geno Stone and many more on this defense.
Fuck Geno too, because he went to the Bengals.
2024, there's maybe more questions
they ops now
team than maybe what we had at certain points last year. But at the end of the day, I still truly do believe that this is one of the best teams in the league.
Look at that throw.
Question marks with the offensive line and who's going to replace.
It's my glorious king right there.
Stars they lost this offseason. But when you bring in a guy like Derrick Henry, you have a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, and you have the weapons both offensively and defensively to match up with any team out there, I think you have a legitimate chance to make that run. Now, I know Lamar Jackson has not put it all together quite yet in the postseason, but I think at some point he's going to do it, and I would not be shocked at all if it's this upcoming season.
We got to run the ball, bro. We got to run the fucking ball. We have Derrick Henry now. Look, bro, John Harbaugh. Look, face to face, bro. You know what I'm saying? Man to man. If we don't run the fucking ball in the playoffs this year, I'm going to personally come to Baltimore myself and strangle you, my nigga, in GTA. I'm going to keep it a stack with you, bro. If we do not win the Super Bowl this year, I will be coming to Baltimore and choking the shit out of you. Pause. In GTA. Okay? So we better make the Super Bowl this year. We better win it all. Because it's not Lamar now that's holding us back. It's you. Your fucking play calls. Well, not play calls, but you know what I'm saying, your decisions, bro. Because last year, it like we could have won that fucking game. Let's keep it a stack, bro, if we ran the fucking ball. Come on now. It's not on Lamar. It's on you. We have all the pieces. Don't fuck this shit up this year, okay? I muted it. Fuck.
To our top two teams, these are going to be two teams that I think could easily match up in the Super Bowl. Hell, I think any of the teams I've mentioned in this video, that even includes the Jets as my honorable mention, could make it to the Super Bowl and could be a potential matchup with an opposing conference team. But as it goes for number 2, I will be discussing the Detroit. For this team, they have, in my opinion, a top tier.
I like Detroit, man.
Goff, a top tier head coach who I think could easily win Coach of the Year this upcoming season, as well as a roster that is, in my opinion, one of, if not the best in the NFL. This is a weird team where they have a combination of younger players and older players that just mesh so well with one another. I think a good example of that is directly in their running back room, where you have the veteran in David Montgomery and the young
Jahmyr Gibbs
so well and properly next to each other that you really couldn't imagine this running back room being with any other players. They have the talent defensively to finally stack up against some of these potent NFC offenses, where they improved on their defensive line, improved in their secondary, added some players, and all of a sudden, this is looking like one of the better defenses in the NFL. And then offensively speaking, we already know what they bring to the table. I think that this is going to be a team that, as they head into the playoffs, they're going to be extremely tested, as they have a number of really tough games throughout the season, not to mention the NFC North games where they're going to be matched up against the Vikings.
Yeah, that NFC North is going to be crazy.
And I really do believe that each one of those games is going to be super important in determining who's going to win that division and make that super deep playoff run. But I think as we head into the season, the Lions are the obvious favorites for good reason. They got everything, in my opinion, that would classify them as a championship contender. I love where this team is going, and I do believe that at some point they could potentially be hosting up the Lombardi Trophy. But I think we all know who's going to be at number 1. We will be discussing the Kansas City Chiefs. They have a top-tier quarterback in Mahomes, arguably the best head coach in the league in Andy Reid, and arguably the best roster in the NFL. And in this offseason, yes, they lost guys like L'Jarius Sneed, but at the end of the day,
bro, I'm telling you, that L'Jarius Sneed loss, bro, might be bigger than a lot of people think, bro, because outside of Trent McDuffie, who do they really have, bro? You know what I'm saying? They got to rely on Jalen Watson to step up now. Like, bro, that Snead loss is going to be huge because he locked down arguably the best receivers in the league last season, bro. Especially in the Super Bowl, locked down Ayuk, you know what I'm saying? Locked down Debo and shit. Like, that loss is going to be huge for them.
A lot of other key positions, such as the receiving core. To be honest with you guys, I'm really not even that worried about the cornerback room because of how many good players they already have in that position, not to mention the overall defense being really solid and the coaching staff being really freaking awesome. The only question marks I really had for this Kansas City Chiefs team was how are they going to address the receiving room and improve that in a big enough way to potentially put them over the top yet again. And in my opinion, they did a very good job of doing so. They brought in a guy like Hollywood Brown. They, of course, drafted Rashee Rice last year, and he took a lot of big steps late into last
Xavier
year.
Worthy.
And then, of course, you bring in the big name guy in Xavier Worthy who can take the top off.
Buffalo continues to help out the ops, huh?
This receiving core may not have the variety of, you know, somebody who can just play over the top as like a 6'4" monster DK Metcalf type of guy. But what they do have is 3 players that, in my opinion, can work well in this Kansas City Chiefs offense. Yes, they're a little similar to one.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. They're all like are really similar in their game.
Xavier Worthy, but they kind of play similarly. But I do think that's really going to work for this,
especially Hollywood and Worthy.
As we know, Andy Reid is a genius when it comes to being a play caller, and he's going to make the right plays to allow these guys to flourish. And when you look at the rest of the league, I really just don't see a team that can maybe take down this Chiefs team in a playoff setting, in a championship setting. I really do believe that, unfortunately, they're probably going to win a 3rd championship in a row.
It's not gonna happen, bro. I'm getting tired of hearing this shit. It's not gonna happen. It's literally impossible. I don't care how good Mahomes and the Chiefs are. They're not winning 3 straight Super Bowls, bro. I'm saying that shit right now. There's too many good AFC teams for the Chiefs to 3-peat. I'm sorry. That shit is just not gonna happen. Chiefs fans can come at me all they want, bro, but that shit is not gonna happen, bro. I'm gonna keep it a stack. It's not gonna happen. It's a reason why it hasn't been done in NFL history. Back to back, that's been done before. You know what I'm saying? The Chiefs just did it. I believe the Patriots have done it before. Nobody's ever 3-peated for a reason. It's already tough in the NFL to win 1 Super Bowl, let alone back to back, let alone 3 in a row. It's not gonna happen, bro. I'm telling you this shit right now. Come on now.
I just think this team is really well constructed.
It's not happening.
As they stay healthy, I just don't see a team beating them when it matters most. But of course, these are just my opinions, and if you guys disagree, you can always let me know in the comment section below, and I'll try my best to respond to your comment. And again, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like and subscribe button, and I love you guys. Peace.
Hey man, what do you guys think? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Turn on post notifications, get notified whenever I drop another banger video. We're on the road to 500 subs. Let me get it for more banger NFL reaction like this. Without further ado, I'm out. Gang!